Today, our verse is Daniel chapter 3, verse 28. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him, and set aside the king's command, and yielded up their bodies rather than serve and worship any god except their own God. This verse comes at the end of the story of the three young men thrown into the fiery furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were among the Jewish young men selected alongside Daniel in Babylon to work in King Nebuchadnezzar's court. Look at Daniel chapter 1 verse 1 to 7 or chapter 2 verse 49. King Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold and commanded that everyone in the province of Babylon, at the sound of music and instruments, were to bow down and worship the image. Whoever does not worship the image will be cast into the fiery furnace. Daniel chapter 3 verse 1 to 8. Some people reported to the king that these three Jewish men, whom the king had appointed over the affairs of the province, defied the order of the king to worship the image. Daniel chapter 3 verse 12. The king was furious and ordered that they be brought to him. The men stood their ground, not to bow down and worship any image except the living God. They were prepared to offer their lives, even if God does not save them from the fiery furnace of the king. The three men were bound and thrown into the furnace. To the amazement of the king and those around him, the men were not burnt. And they saw 4 people in the fiery furnace instead of 3. Not a hair of the body of these men was burnt. The king ordered them to be brought out of the furnace. Our verse is the response of King Nebuchadnezzar to what happened. Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The king, who set up an image of himself as a god to be worshipped, acknowledges that there is a superior being, the God of heaven. He calls this God the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Can someone see you act as a Christian and decide to follow the God you serve? King Nebuchadnezzar affirms that God saved these men by sending his angel to rescue them. God sent his angel and delivered his servants. Confirmation of the psalmist's words, the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. Psalm 34 verse 7. The king enumerates the reasons why God delivered them. Number 1, trust. These men trusted in God and defied the earthly king's order to adhere to God's ways. Trust can be difficult in the face of death. Today we remember the young Leah Sharibu, who is still in Boko Haram's hands because she refused to renounce her faith. Number 2, disobedience to a law contrary to divine law. The 3 men disobeyed the law that was against their faith, and they were prepared to die. It can be challenging today in our world to uphold our faith in the face of specific laws that contradict our Christian beliefs. Where do we stand when we are confronted with such situations? Number 3, conviction of their faith in the true God. These men were convinced about their faith. You shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 20 verse 3. They knew their faith, understood it, and internalized it. To stand up against laws detrimental to our faith, we need to understand ours first. Lord, help us understand and stand up for our faith, especially when we have to make decisive decisions for or against our faith. Amen. God bless you, and I wish you a lovely day.